and I will be posting them in Twitter and LinkedIn. Hopefully that's okay. If it's not, then just let me know by a personal message and I will just, remove your picture. Thank you.
Thank you. Siwang Jang.
Morning, everyone. My name is Xiwan Zhang. I'm from the Monash University Department of Chemical Engineering. I'm one of the board director of MSA.
Michael Duke.
Hello, so Michael Duke from Victoria University in Melbourne, honorary member of the MSA and just made president of the World Association of Membrane Societies.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Got some work to do.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Zhongli.
Yeah, my name is Zhongli Xie from CSI Our Manufacturing in Melbourne, and I've been involving with MSA as a board members for last couple of years, and also current board member as well.
David.
Hi everyone, this is David from University of Sydney, and I've been a board director of MSA handling the newsletter editors, and welcome everybody.
Georgie.
Hi, morning everyone. George Chen from Melbourne University. Been organizing a couple of MSA events as well as helping MSA to promote membership and things like that in the past couple of years. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you, George. Amir.
Hey, this is Amir speaking. I was at UNSW, but I recently joined UTS as a Vice Chancellor Fellowship.
Jeff, please.
So Jeff Johnson Hall, currently from Vermont. Everyone here hopefully knows me. I am calling from my lounge room, and there's going to be some noise in the background, so I may be on mute.
Thanks, Jeff. Leonard.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Leonard Ting here from the University of Technology, Sydney. I'm board of director of MSA as well as the MSA treasurer.
Stefan.
Hi, everyone. I'm currently with Monash University's Centre for Membrane Innovation. Apologies for the camera being off. I'm going to have someone moving in today, so there'll be a lot of noise in the background.
Guang Yang.
Good morning, everyone. This is Guang Yang from Victoria University. I'm a PhD student. I'm co-joined, supervised by Zhongli and Stephen Gray. I'm submitting my PhD thesis, and I'm looking for a postdoc opportunity in Australia. So I'm very keen to show myself.
Thank you, Guang. Anybody missing? So that's the old list I have from my screen. Anybody missing? No? Otherwise,
we're expecting anyone from, say, WA or anywhere else?
Xiaomin Liu, yeah, he said he will join, but maybe he'll be late a little bit.
Sure.
How about others? Do we miss anybody? Xiwang is already he in.
Oh.
Yeah. So let's start our today agenda. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, coming to this strategy meeting 2020-21st. So we will mainly cover today what we can do for this year during this pandemic period. So briefly introduce to what we have done so far. So give you the little bit of better brainstorming what we have to do next our 1 year. So we want to mainly focus on membrane separation, academic research, industry engagement, technology translation, member networking. So this is our main focus. So today we want to cover what's our new board of directors and finance, also how many members we have, what was our strategy in 2019 to 2020. Also, already we provide you questionnaire survey. So Stefan, he summarized all the feedback. So he will present what could be the expectation from our members. And then new strategy has to be discussed today. That's the 1 hour we will discuss mainly for each item, almost 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So you can talk, as well as we have prepared a Jamboard, which you can write. So everybody can involve our discussion. So nobody left behind. So we finalized our summary of today's meeting. So MSA enables a sustainable future and promotes networking, education, and collegiality in separation engineering. So again, we appreciate corporate members, Monash Membrane Innovation Center, CSIRO, the University of Melbourne, Yupong, Veolia, 2D Water, Origin Water. So we have 7 corporate members. Our mission and goal is to promote the advancement of membrane science and technology by supporting activities across membrane research and related industrial sectors. So today, main question is, what should be the MSA doing to better support its members, membrane research, and related industries? So first of all, we want to briefly explain how to utilize the Jamboard. Some of people are new for this software. So Federico, so can you please explain how to use Jamboard?
Yeah, thank you, Sean. So I'm just gonna share my screen.
Yeah,
that's okay. Okay, so can you all see Jamboard?
Not yet. I think you have to give them, yeah, link.
Okay, so I've shared the link on in the message box. Hope you can see the screen with Jamboard now. Please let me know if you cannot. So Jamboard it's a software. I think it's owned by Google. It's a free software, and we think it's a good way to facilitate brainstorming. So the way it works is that we have created 4 slides, each one with a specific theme. So the first theme, which we think is one of the most important one, is improving the MSA value for its members. And then you can see there are sort of like 2 columns. On the left-hand side, we encourage you to write post saying what you think the MSA have been doing right in the past year. And so you can, so for example, if you like the webinars, then you can post your comments directly there with these sticky notes. But then actually, even more importantly, on the right-hand side, we really encourage you to start posting whatever you think the MSA can do to improve itself, to provide more value for its members, new ideas, and how to execute those ideas. I think that would be really important for us. And we really encourage you to start using this throughout the presentation. So once I'm done, Sean will start presenting, Sean Leonard and Stefan will start presenting a few facts about last year. And in the meantime, if anything comes to your mind, please post whatever you think on the Jamboard. So the first slide is about improving the value for the members. The second slide is about growing our membership geographically, which sort of means, trying to expand not just in New South Wales, Victoria, but improving our presence in Queensland, Western Australia, South Australia, Northern Territories, so on. And then the third one is engaging with industry and our community. And then finally, we have some sort of this is sort of open for new ideas for the MSA, and we structured it sort of following the SWOT, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be just focused on like positive ideas, but also like what you think in the future could be an issue for the current way the MSA is being operated, but also what are, you know, opportunities for us and what are our strengths. So at the end, we will collect all of these ideas and we're gonna use them to really define our goal for this year and the next year. And yeah, and the posts are anonymous, so feel free to be completely honest. And well, again, thank you very much for joining us and supporting us. Any question, please let me know.
Just a quick question. So Federico, did you send through a link to that?
Yes, so I posted a link on the chat of Zoom.
Excellent.
Is it working, Geoff?
Yep, I got it. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Federico.
Yep.
How to remember what my anonymous name is? I mean, you know, when I joined, it gave me an anonymous name. So how do you know?
That's okay.
Basically, I can't write on the board.
So it doesn't really matter if you are anonymous. You should still be able to edit and add new posts. So if you click on the left-hand side, sticky notes.
All right. Okay. So we are on the left side currently, because I was trying to write on the right side.
That should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Dana.
No, sorry. I think this should be fine anywhere, any side you wish to write, because we'll be discussing that one later on at the part of this strategy later on.
Okay. Okay. I understand now.
So I was just focusing on getting into the Jamboard. I've added a sticky note, but did I just hear you say, don't worry about the other slides? Or should we just try to put a sticky note on all the sides of like left and right of each slide?
So, well, ideally was on the left-hand side should be what is the MSA doing right? And on the right-hand side, how can it be improved, new ideas?
Yep.
But yeah, I guess it then becomes too crammed sort of.
Oh yeah, but do we scroll to the next slide? So there's 5 there, or do we wait later in the meeting?
No. You can scroll to the next one and start filling the next one.
All right.
They're just different topics. So yeah, you can freely use any of the slide.
At any time, like right now.
At any time,
yep.
yes,
Yep.
exactly.
Okay. Yep.
That's a good comment. Thanks, Michael. Any other question about Jamboard?
You need to unmute. You need to unmute. Okay.
Okay. So everything is ready for the Jamboard. So we just want to introduce the new board members. So just want to emphasize 2 new people. So Andrea Morenda, so he joined the board director from this term. Was Federico, he started his secretary position from this 2020 to 21st. So congratulations and welcome to joining the MSA. The rest of the board member and directors are very much same. So I will just skip for all the members. And this is our main activity last term. So we had a strategy meeting October 2019. So we identified the 4 main strategies: value propositions, membership, and industry engagement, communication, website. So we had delivered all the necessary strategy, and we organized the MSA ECL 2020, Dr. Sharif Puncho at UTS. Also, IMSS was held at UTS. Almost 230 people joined this conference, and very successfully. Also, we implemented Tony Pence Award and MSA Industry Award, which is very much relevant to our strategy, industry engagement, and value proposition. After that, we got a COVID-19, and we changed to the webinar series and MSA annual meeting virtually. So we have tried to manage this pandemic period. So today we have a MSA strategy virtually for this meeting. So if you look at what we did, 29 to 20 MSA strategies. So you can see all the detail, our action items in terms of value proposition, membership, industry, communication. So some of them we completed already, and some of them are going on. Also, we could not manage this pandemic. For example, travel award. We have not supported any travel, such as ICOM 2020. Also, workshop, and then some of the networking event physically we didn't support for the MSA strategy. So we want to identify which one we have done very well and then we didn't do well. So that's what we want to continue for this year, and then how to improve what we have done, such as webinar series. Also, we want to do some of the interaction for educational program for the membrane technology. So there are also many activities we can bring with online communication system. So that's our main item. And membership. So if you look at the last 3 years, 2018 till just 1 month ago, so we had 147, 67, 169, and now we decreased a little bit, 136. Also, we have 7 corporate members the last term. The 2D Water and the University of Melbourne have been joined our new corporate members. Thank you for 2 corporate members. And we will continue to increase the number of members. So that's the reason why we need to make sure our strategy to engage with our members. Also finance. So Lenal, do you want to summarize this financial report?
Sure. Yes. Thank you, Sean. So basically, the overall message here is so far we have quite a good or healthy financial status as of this moment. Mainly for the last financial year in 2019 to 2020. So the bulk of our revenue came from IMSTEC. So if you look at the left-hand side, because I don't have the control here, the left-hand side, you can see from there the revenue. The membership is only a small amount usually for the membership revenue, but the bulk is about IMSTEC. So about 3% for membership, and IMSTEC got a bulk of that one. Then if we look at the expenses with our admin and the regular expenses we have, and then we have a net surplus of about $53,000 for that. And then we carry over the previous balance that we have in the previous year of about $40,000. Then our liquid cash in bank that we have now is 97,000. So aside from this cash that we have that we can use anytime, we do have some 2 term deposits at the bottom side. If you can see at the bottom side, we have 2 term deposits there, 2 years maturation each. So that's 26,000, almost the same amount now. So considering all of these term deposits, we do have a total of about almost $150,000 of in our status right now. So it's quite healthy, and we can have a lot of activities based on our current status. But if we look at the right-hand side, at the bottom right, we can see this our regular annual financial activity without considering IMSTEC. So if you look at it, our only main source of income, in fact, in a yearly basis, is memberships. We don't have much other sources of income. So we do have about memberships are 6,250, and that membership includes the membership that we got from IMSTEC. Usually the membership will go up because of IMSTEC, because we offer some discounts and package. But if we consider the expenses that we have on a yearly basis based on the activities that we do have a travel support. This is based on the last financial year. So we have 10,000 travel support. We didn't support the ICOM, but we supported before the other conferences like IMSTEC. We supported that one, some travel support. We also saw some ECR symposium, even the MIMDES before ISEP. So we do have some travel support there. Workshop networking support. We also provide workshop in New Zealand, some workshop in UTS for the MD workshop. And we do have the retreat or the director's retreat, just like this one. We spent that one in Melbourne last year, the previous year. And then we have the website management and administration of about 3,500. So we pay for our website, for our MSA website as well. So that's a total of 24,600. And we do have a deficit if we consider that one only. So we need to think of, especially Stefan pointed this out earlier before, that we need to be more sustainable, just in case the pandemic will continue and we will have some problem with the IMSTEC, for example, not coming in. Hopefully not, everything will be fine, but what if? And then the finances would be a bit of a problem in the future probably. So we need your advices and suggestions later on how to go about with this one. Yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, thanks, sir. Just have a question.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Can you? So I've noticed there you've got term deposits.
Yes.
I don't know what. I guess I could probably quickly work it out. But is there any interest that you gain from that can help fund other things? Because the interest that comes from money put away can be useful if it's big enough for paying for things.
In fact, we started this one, as far as I remember, about 3 years ago. We started with 25,000. So if you look at the first one is the CBA term deposit number 1. The interest now is about 1,349. So that's the interest in the last two and a half years. And then the last one is we just started last 2 years or last year. So this is only small amount of increase because they have differences in interest rate. The first one is a bigger interest rate, and then we came in the second term deposit is much smaller interest rate. So they have a different interest depending on the time that you come in. So basically we started with 25,000 each. So you can see the difference. That's the interest we can see. And we don't really, withdraw this interest. We just keep on accumulating that one there for us to mature more. So we have just last year we again made a 2-year maturation, 2 years again from last year. So it will end by 2022.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's worth like a couple $100 a year, let's say.
Yeah. Not that much. Yeah.
No, it's a good pilot. And
still, it's growing. Yeah, it's growing.
Okay, thank you, Leonard and Michael. So if you have any more questions, so we can go next to slide.
Sure, I have a question. Tony here.
Yep.
What is the corporate membership fee? How much is a corporate membership fee? Can you hear me?
Yeah. How much was that, Zhongli? Because Zhongli is one membership. Yeah.
I can add in here. It's $400 a year for corporate membership.
Okay, thanks. I'll just see if I can squeeze that out of Greg Leslie. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Tony. Any other questions? So, thank you for your interest for the MSA Strategic General, our meeting for the last year, what happened to us. So we had a little bit of survey for member questionnaire. So Stefan, so you will share this information, what they're expecting from our MSA, right?
Yes, great, thanks, Sean. Do you want to go to the next slide?
Yeah.
So we sent out a questionnaire in about mid-June to all of the MSA members to try and get a understanding of what their perspective was on how the MSA went, their kind of views on online and what we've had to do during the pandemic, and ideas for the future. So we had relatively low response rates, but that's fairly consistent with history. As you can see, most of the responses were from mid-career researchers or senior academics, located primarily in New South Wales or Victoria. So this is kind of representative of the underlying problem in our skewed membership base towards these states. In terms of the length of time people have been involved, or the respondees have been involved with the MSA, we have several people who are basically original members of the society, which was great to get their views, as well as a few people who've joined more recently. So we've got a reasonable mix across that particular aspect, but it is very clear that we've got quite a strong bias in the respondees. Next slide. So when we asked what we did well last year, a lot of people responding that they really liked the webinar series, and that our shift to going online was really well received. Despite the challenges, we were fairly good at being active during the pandemic and improving our social media presence. Overall, we were given, I think, an average of about a score of 8 out of 10 for working well as an organization. So overall, it's generally pretty positive. What we didn't do so well was getting actually impact from our social media activity. People recognized that we were on there, but not really getting engagement or getting deliveries. Our membership growth was seen to be a bit of a problem, and this is from our members' point of view. So there's clearly some awareness there that we're not quite getting the membership representation. There was a comment that our connection with industry and how we engage there and generating value wasn't great. And as you might expect, some of the workshops and travel awards were obviously pulled back a bit because of COVID. There was also comments that the website and the online registration systems could be better. Next slide. In terms of did we run enough events, the vast majority said yes. A small fraction said that we ran too many, but no one thought that we didn't run enough. So this is really positive in terms of how much we're doing. Whether or not that is balanced by the fact that we were supporting the webinar series, which ran every 2 weeks for a few months there. I feel like that might have been a large portion of that. In terms of relevance and value, we've scored fairly well on both of those as well, indicating that the events we are organizing are well received and are beneficial to the members who did respond. Next slide. We also asked a bit more of a general question about online conferences and how people viewed them. This is a relatively new feature, and looking at the ICOM event, we saw quite a large shift from it being a global event to an online one, and there was definitely the perspective I got from Australia was that it was less relevant or less attractive now that it was only online and at midnight for all of us here. in person is definitely preferred for longer conferences, and that kind of makes sense. And then there's the shift as we go towards shorter symposium and seminars or guest lectures, that online is more valuable there. And that probably links back to people not having to travel, and probably the limited networking opportunities that come with those smaller or shorter events. Most people would be cautious about paying for an event, especially if it started being pricey. So this kind of really raises the question of how we price our events. The MSA AGM, or the annual meeting, was free to our members, and we got reasonably good attendance of that. So it kind of highlights and supports that finding. Next slide. So we asked some pretty blunt questions on whether or not we'd been engaging. Generally, everyone was supportive and saying that we were doing well in the circumstances, but there was definitely more to do. And again, being more active and strategic on social media and how we gain engagement through that. We were encouraged to do more in terms of networking with other organizations as well as our international peers. There were a couple of people suggesting that we upload all our recordings, webinars, and add educational videos to the platform, as well as expanding our membership base, particularly among industry professionals, those researchers and membrane professionals not based in Victoria and New South Wales, as well as adding government representation where we could. And there was a suggestion to add quizzes or prizes to try and make our online platforms more engaging. Next slide. Looking forward, again, be more engaging and get representation were the two big things that came through from a lot of people. I think that based on this, we definitely have quite a strong representation from those two states in academia. But outside of that, I think it falls off very quickly, and that's a real weakness of the society. Growing our membership base, I think, is important. We did do a bit of an analysis, and George Chen helped with this a lot, and so Zhong Li, about trying to work out who is potential members and what our potential market is, and it's not as large as we would like. So we are aware that within the academic field, we are not going to be a massive society. We need to look at other aspects to kind of grow. And encouraging to be focusing our resources on what is going to be most impactful and how we can kind of maintain momentum within the board and within our membership to continue to engage. Other than that, everyone thought we were doing fairly well and congratulated us and thanked us for all the support we did during this challenging year. And that was all. That was the survey results.
Thank you, Stefan. So anybody has a question related to our survey?
Yes, Vicky here. What's your relationship, for example, with the Australian Water Associations, which I attended some recent meetings and they seem quite strong, especially in Queensland. And I have to say, I'm also reflecting on, what happened to Chemica this year, which I found quite difficult to engage given the structuring of how they tried to run the online platform. But in the past, we did discuss maybe have, as you said, interaction with Chemica to, MSA sponsoring or running a stream in separation and membranes there, and driving that sort of interface with the rest of chemical engineering. But yeah, I was wondering about the AWA, which is, as I said, is quite strong in Queensland, quite strong in New South Wales. And yeah, I probably have to say, probably should have thought about corporate membership for Queensland, UQ. But yeah.
Very good questions there, Vicky. I can't remember what year this was. It was a year or two ago. We did, I think, start initial discussions with either AWA or Water RA. I can't remember which one. And we kind of got a little bit of pushback in terms of the business structure. And what I mean by that is that they're relatively for-profit based. They charge quite high fees. They employ staff. And for them, getting the revenue stream out of whatever engagement we decided to collaborate on was quite key.
Yes.
From our perspective, we're more worried about the impact, although we do need to look at revenue to a much smaller degree. And so we kind of felt that we were being pushed off to the side and we weren't really given equal footing. And it kind of made that hard to engage.
No, I agree that AWA is very profit orientated, but they're also very industry facing. So I guess it's whether or not there's a win-win for both of you to get revenue from it if they are going to run it, if there's enough market for interest that they could view that as an opportunity to run, for example, a workshop or something. Yeah, we've been into with the iWeds. I guess Tony, you probably know, a number of these sort of profit or more profit-oriented CPD type of things, but it is extremely demanding and trying to, as you said, it's a different culture in that space, but just there may be opportunities, as say, for MSA to generate income if you are going to approach it with a more mercenary, so to speak, view. But if you can capture some of that market, that might be useful, because I assume there still would be professionals that would be interested in engaging, but it would take a fair bit of work.
Yeah, Vicky, I can add to that. Like, just when I was president, we did actively pursue, and it's as Stefan's saying, it's more recently updated, but we did actively pursue engagement with AWA, like in terms of partnering even with Ozwater. But yeah, it's very difficult, and the natural reaction is that MSA is a competitor. Even though we had friends in the membrane special interest group. I don't know how AWA is structured. I let my membership lapse, but I don't know if it's going to have changed very much. It's a very powerful business, you could say, and how to present to them something that's value to them but valuable to the MSA, I think is I don't know if that situation has changed much from what Stefan is saying.
I can add to that a little bit with the I think it was the IESET conference that was run, and it was supported by, I think there was a workshop added to it along the side, which was supported by, I think it was WRA, and the
it was Water Research Australia. Not AWA.
Sorry, Water Research Australia, and the contract terms that were provided on that were very biased towards them.
Right.
They weren't very collaborative terms at all. Well, it still went ahead and it was still definitely a success. It's not an easy place to navigate contractually based on what the MSA does.
Water RA would be far more collaborative, I'd say, relatively speaking, than AWA. I think Chemica has an opportunity to integrate with. I think there's definitely.
Can I pitch in about Chemica? Because I sat on a review panel for Chemica this year. We actually did, so I was part of a review of Chemica, and where Chemica is really struggling. And one of our findings was very much this idea of badging with groups like the MSA. So there is a lot of interest from Chemica in running back-to-back conferences or combining Chemica with other events, because we're just getting so few people attending Chemica. So there would be, I think, a lot of interest in setting up some sort of joint event, or would hang off Chemica. Maybe a day of Chemica and then a day of other events, that sort of thing. So you won't get the same pushback there. They're very keen to engage.
Yeah. And it's interesting enough, I mean, as you know, Sandra, that at AICHE, it's the membrane people who drive a lot of the separation, organize and drive a lot of the separation sessions. So they're very influential there. And I think we did, discuss this quite a few years ago about that strength. I mean, Chemica, I know, has always been quite a little bit on.
Yeah, but it's true, like the Particle Group, I don't know what their official title is, they've always organised their events to be part of Chemica, and that would help, I think, a lot for us to have that synergy where we might have a session or a day or something hooked into Chemica, because they are really to try and change their model.
So I got a question. I just got a question, interest in that. Vicky, you mentioned AICHE and the separations sessions developed by the membrane people. But in that example, is NAMS the comparable example would be has NAMS got any involvement in that, or is it just membrane people who might be NAMS members?
I think it's not NAMS involved, but it's the same group of people who were influential in NAMS, who also run, promoting those separations streams. And because they're naturally networked, they can guarantee they help generate attendance and papers being submitted to AICHE, because it's kind of almost a de facto re-meeting of the family of membrane people and separation people. But you then have an opportunity to expose people who may not be core membrane people to be able to lob into membrane sessions. So it kind of helps widen the maybe the profile without much cost, So an alliance would be certainly useful in that. And I said I am concerned about Chemica, and Chemica was supposed to be run from Brisbane last year, and everything just fell over as not having that physical meeting. But but obviously the complexity of what they ended up running, I ended up not even being able to participate because of scheduling issues.
So where is it to be run this year? Has it got a physical that's Chemica? Does it have a physical base this year?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Again, our committee finished before the Brisbane conference, so I didn't hear much more.
In fact, the MSA tried to engage with the water arrays. The Siwang organized one food industry using membrane technology for webinar series. Siwang, do you have any follow-up with the water array for the collaboration with other institutions?
I think as Marco said, water array, they are much more, I think, collaborative. They quite keen to collaborate with us. I did discuss with them, how to, start to engage. One thing I want to mention, water array is different with AWA and also different from WASA. They are different organizations. What is, their key objective, to link the researcher with water utility. So that's why actually they are keen to work with us, because they just focus on the research project. So they do need some research to help them. And but AWA and WASA, they are different. They are, I think, mainly industry-based, some kind of network. They do not do any, research project, maybe a small. So I think what we, in term of how we engage with other, I think societies, the main things I think we might need to start to have more activities. At this moment, if you look at our MSA, what do we have? We have, the IMSTEC. It's a very good conference. But the IMSTEC, we have only, once every 3 years. And a part of this, so far, we do not have many activities let the people to come together, particularly, for the industry people. If you look at AWA, they have an annual conference, what they call Aussie Water. And industry people want, to come together regularly. And like the AWA, they have, I think a regular regional, what they call the the short meeting, even the lunch or dinner, they try, to bring their member together regularly, even maybe just 10 or 20, just let people to come together. And then, gradually let the people realize, the benefit. And I think, in terms, as mentioned, how we can, what we do need to fully understand what people expect from the MSA. I think two key things based on my understanding, I could be wrong. One is the information. They want to, get to share some information. Another is a network. Yeah. Otherwise, why they want to join, some kind of society. And to achieve that, we have to let the people to come together, either privacy, definitely, face-to-face meeting or conference. Now that's why, the MSA, we organize, a lot of webinar. This try, to achieve this. And so I think to have some joint activity like the webinar, workshop, even the conference, definitely is the best strategy to start let the other society to realize the value of the MSA. And then we can start, to discuss how we can engage with them. Before, they realize the benefit, I don't believe they will, they want, they won't be very keen to collaborate with us. We do need to, I think, convince them we are not compete with them, and that's something we do need to, I think, find a smart way. If they are, if they think we are competing with them, and definitely, I don't believe they are keen to work with us. Yeah.
Okay, so we are now, in fact, discussing about one of our strategic discussion for member and industry engagement. So while we are talking this one, we can go directly to our Jamboard. So we can continue our discussion. So now we want to share our Jamboard together. Federico, can you please share the Jamboard? Membership and industry engagement, so we can continue this discussion for the IMSTEC or some webinar and how we can engage with the industry and some more members. So let's say the IMSTEC is every 3 years, and then we have every year nearly conference, which is the MSA annual meeting. So do you believe this is not enough to engage with industry? In fact, IMSTEC is the very unique name. That's why we don't want to touch the every yearly based conference. But if Siwang, as you mentioned, if you mention about IMSTEC as a yearly based every year, so do you believe what will be a difference from once 3 years? Every year we utilize the same name, IMSTEC, rather than MSA annual meeting conference name. So people are confused whether this conference is same or it's last year the Stefan organized and we had only 50 people engaged online MSA annual meeting. So next year, 2022, so Michael is planning to organize together with Siwang. So do you believe this every 3 year IMSTEC, and then we have every MSA annual meeting. So this is not enough to engage our industry and members regularly. What do you think?
John, I'm going to pitch in here. I think IMSTEC should be kept every 3 years. I think we're too small a community to have a yearly conference. I think if you want to do something in the interim years, You need to align it with a Chemica or with a water research, and industry people will not come. That it's the wrong approach to attracting industry. If you want to attract industry, get them in with smaller events. People won't be traveling much for the next couple of years. I just think we shouldn't damage the IMSTEC brand. That, you know, does really well at attracting internationals. You won't get internationals coming every year. I just think.
I mean, could I add to that, Sandra? I mean, the whole idea of IMSTEC initially was it was an international meeting, and in those early days, you know, to get people from overseas to Australia to talk about membranes was really the aim of the exercise, and to join with the international community. So it is meant to be an international meeting. Obviously, it's got to engage as many Australians as it can, but it is an international meeting, and I think, you know, every 3 years is a good number. I think MSA is a good type. MSA conferences on an annual basis are a good idea, but I don't think an IMSTEC every year is going to work.
I'll happily back that up.
Yes, I agree.
And to add to Sandra's comment as well on merging, I think it's a great opportunity, particularly with Chemica. If Chemica is saying they would like to partner, I think that's an open door to discussions.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. Yeah.
I think if we can combine conferences and reduce them, I don't have enough research projects to pay for all the new conferences that are appearing. I'm sorry. Maybe others do, but I don't.
Yeah. I think this is a key reason why, you know, last year the MSA board decided, you know, have we use MSA annual meeting rather than use, you know, IMSTEC. I think Sandra will give a very good suggestion. We can combine our MSA annual meeting with other, you know, societies conference like Chemica, and if AWA is keen to allow us to have some, you know, a session in Aussie water. We also could be, you know, to join maybe a one-day conference, you know, for there.
I'd say Ozwater is a long-term plan, but for now, probably Chemica is a good
I think you make the point here. You might not need to actually do anything with the Water Association. What you do is you just run the MSA conference the day afterwards. You don't need to even talk to them. It's just
good.
They're all travelling to a particular city to attend Ozwater. You set up the MSA annual meeting to be the next day, and you don't need to even talk to them. But we're not having to cover the extra travel costs of moving interstate more than once. So, you know, you don't have to have an arrangement with Ozwater or with AWA to be able to run an event coincidentally with your event.
And it doesn't have to be a
very good
national meeting. It can be just, as you say, a workshop, symposium, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and you, Ziwang, you run, you know, a number of those symposium as part of your ARC centers, and they, you know, they had quite good attendances, but, you know, we do something similar in parallel or adjacent to, you know, that the value proposition would be significant. I think that the broader issue of travel is that the amount of travel people are going to do in the next couple of years is going to be, even interstate, you know, I think they're going to be an issue, but especially international travel is going to be extremely fraught. So I think, you know, I think that's, maybe it is a, you know, IMSTEC is a great revenue bring. I mean, it is, you know, and that is probably a big threat to us is you know, that constraint extends for longer than we expect. And there's not a reopening of the floodgates for travel.
Just to qualify what Vicky said, in the first student symposium was put up next to ICON, the nanotechnology conference. That was in Sydney that year because the first conference was in Wollongong. and we got guest speakers from ICON. I think from memory, I have to gather my thoughts, but that turned out really well, and that actually cross-fertilizes because you've got nanotech featuring into the symposium.
Right.
Water, for example, or food conference, you know, not just membrane conference. Yeah.
But could I just add, there might be an opportunity this year with the International Desalination Association meeting at World Congress, which comes to Sydney, apparently, fingers crossed. It'll be the second week of November. I think UTS is involved through Long. Long's sort of one of the main organizers. I'm on some sort of committee. They're a bit like AWA and they're not very easy to interact with, but there may be an opportunity there to do some short course or something like that with IDA.
Well, it doesn't have to be in conjunction with, it could be following.
Yes.
IDA has paid or sponsored it worked quite well in the past from my memory with MSA. Yeah.
Well, Long, talk to Long Niem, Sean, because Long is involved in that committee, I think.
Yes, I am also involved, the technical committee member.
Yes.
And then, yeah, the due of the abstract is the 1st of February.
No, it's not. They've just changed it today, by the way.
If you're interested,
they've got another month.
Yeah, you can submit your abstract. So in fact, this is very much organized by IDA.
Yes.
We don't, we can suggest some of the new initiative to initiate some of the educational program or short course. So we can discuss with them so that if you have any idea to work with the IDA, definitely, we are in good position together with Long. Also, AWA is one of the sponsors. AWA is sponsoring New South Wales government, also Sydney business event. So they are the major players to negotiate with IDA. So UTS, we are basically support technical program, technical related issue.
Okay.
It looks like they will organize the online conference rather than physical conference, so that now everything is not really certain.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
Can I ask when we talk about the industry engagement, so what sort of industry are we going to focus on, right? So are we planning to organize some sort of focused activity, that suits the particular industry?
I think historically we have been kind of neutral to the industry we're trying to get involved with. We've been looking at membrane manufacturers or the limited number that are available, end users and utilities. And I think that general approach may not have worked very well in the past. I think we probably need a more focused approach for each of those different groups and trying to get them engaged.
Yeah, maybe even small group, right? So we can run the multiple events for the small groups.
Yeah.
It seems to me that one of the central issues is that we need to grow our membership. Just not for financial reasons. The income from membership is quite small in the total amount that we have, but I think we need to have more members, and that way we'll get more influence, we'll get more activity, we'll also get more industrial connections. I think our membership is too small.
So how we can improve the number of members?
I put a point there in supporting Hans's statement to do maybe a scoping study to work out where the members are. Sorry, find out what the market is. You could say.
Yeah, I agree, especially in those states where there are very few members or not at all, like WA or even Queensland.
Because if we're already at 95% market, got 95% of the market, then there isn't much scope. But Yeah.
It's Victoria, New South Wales, basically, at this stage.
George, Zhongli, did your assessment or investigation into that cover quite that depth, or was it more focused on who we know already?
I think we are more focused on the academic, but actually we did a search, across the breadth in Australia and New Zealand. I think for industry, we did some search. Well, actually industry we did as well. And then we come up with a list for the potential engagement. I think some of them, because we lack of, like, say, the contact. So even we sending the email seems not that effective.
And can I add to that, Tony? I mean, it's probably not a good time this year to ask for this kind of stuff. And as well, I think when we try to approach different people, what I found is that what we could offer probably could be improved before we do further, because we've been saying those ordinary things, with the membership, you can have access to the different, media releases and different events and things like that, which is not different to what other organizations are offering. We need to think about how we can distinguish ourselves from others and pitch that point to either academic or industry membership, potential members, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because I really like a value proposition for how to see for the member to see join either as individual member or corporate member. But back to the corporate, I think we didn't have that list. We actually have been circulated in the board members, and then we really hoping the board members can take. I think that's actually in particular how to grow in the corporate members. I think that's a big task for us, because currently our majority of the members do focus on academic.
Can I ask a question? Do we know with student membership, what percentage of the membrane student population are actually members of MSA? My feeling is that they should be 100% members of MSA, and there should be no financial barrier to a membrane research student being a member of MSA. Do we have any feeling for this number, this percentage?
I think, Tony, we have some numbers. I don't see the numbers, but I don't think we cover 100%. That's a very good point as well. That's why for last year, we have been promoting heavily. I really appreciate the help from George and Nashat as volunteer in the membership committee. And in particular, we targeted to try to engage more students.
Yeah.
But I think to doing that, what we realized, since we have so whenever there's an IMSTEC conference or whenever we have conference, and then you can see the influx of, in particular student membership and increase. And by once, the after IMSTEC conference, or after those benefits, once you see the benefit dropping, and for next year, and then the numbers dropping.
Tony, can I ask what is the membership fee for the student?
$25. So as Tony just mentioned, actually, that money funding wise is actually be a barrier.
I'd make $10 and get all of them.
I think it's not a matter of price. It's a matter of, I think the current students that are registered as MSA members, probably they purchased the membership because they were encouraged by their supervisors, not just because they came across the MSA website. At least that was the case. Most of the students at Deakin that were registered with the MSA, they were encouraged by Ludo to do so. And now that Ludo's left, none of the students left at Deakin and Member Science, they don't have an MSA membership. So I we should go through, again, probably managers and probably mid-career researchers in this case, people that supervise students. They're probably our best channel.
Yes.
It's not about price. We could drop the fee to $10, $15, but if they don't know about the MSA, they're not going to register.
Yes, I think Andreas is making a very good point, because the reason student knows many, when you start doing registration for the conference, you realize, okay, being a member has a benefit there, the discount there. So that's why I think having the encouragement from the research group, say the leaders, and that's a key. So for last year, I think a lot of emails actually targeting, senior researchers. So we try to encourage them to they can encourage students. So I think we still need to do more in that space.
I think if you get the as somebody is saying, if you get the head of, not the head of department, but managers, the supervisors on board, likely that percent of the students registered with the MSA would go up steeply.
Yeah.
So it's again a matter of probably engagement and outreach.
One question I have for the more senior academics on the call is what part or what is there a particular thing that you think would encourage your students to join or would convince you to find research funding to put towards student memberships, or what would really drive all of my students are in this in the MSA because it is so valuable?
If I can comment here, Stefan, just a yearly reminder for me to join my people up. I happily will join them up. I just forget.
And how about if we, MSA can offer, say, a 3-year membership for PhD students as they start $30 for 3 years? Then you don't need to get reminded then.
Well, true, but the problem is when a new PhD student starts, the first thing, it doesn't crop up into my mind, oh, they have to join the MSA.
The cost is not the problem.
Yeah,
the cost is not the problem.
No, it's
the $20 is cheap as chips.
It's the actual remembering to do it. So I am serious. If you sent me a reminder saying, every year saying which of your PhD students have joined the MSA, I would say, oh, hang on, so-and-so hasn't joined yet.
I can send you an email every 3 months to remind you if you have any new people joining, and please join MSA.
On that comment of price, though, I have had students play the card that could you pay for it because I don't want to pay for it, even though it's $20 and they've got a scholarship.
I pay for all my students. I can't believe you make them pay for it themselves.
Professional membership.
If I can add one more thing. Based on my experience, I can tell you what drove us at Deakin, back when Ludo was our supervisor here at Deakin, to purchase membership. Basically, it was discounts at events and conferences mostly. Yeah. So that was the main reason that was driving us actually towards the MSA.
Yeah.
Back in from 2016 until probably 2019.
Yeah, I would say that's exactly right. Is what will drive people, students' interest is that, oh, well, there's going to be a poster competition or there's a networking event and you need to be a member in order to participate. And, when they see that visibility, I'm going to participate in some kind of networking event, that drives their interest of being engaged. It's like, oh, okay, $25, I can be a member, I could be eligible for a prize, I could be eligible to participate, So it's both activity as well as subtle prodding by their supervisors. But they need to say, well, that will get them into a family or community, so one thing I might say, given especially the COVID issues, and the limitation we may have in running sort of the big kind of national type networking events is some of you might know the Australian Colloid Society. They're running basically a hub-based conference where they will have a group of people, the researchers in Sydney, the researchers in Brisbane, the researchers in Melbourne get together, but they will then have a connected, conference together. But it still allows face-to-face and networking to occur even in a constrained travel situation. So, that even if the networking is not a gigantic number of people, it's still that valuable. I think we're all sick of webinars, sorry. Sick of Zoom meetings. Having even a local, 20 or 30 people, 50 people locally to get together is not a bad thing, and as we hopefully transition back to,
I think what Vicky's saying is really true. I think it partly is for them to join the community and to feel part of a community of like-minded people.
Yeah, beyond their own research groups, beyond their local, very, very, they barely know the people down the hallway, for them to meet even people, between USW, UTS, or in Sydney or Wollongong, or, that is actually quite a, it's a nice thing to have,
Yeah.
even if it's only a Sydney, but centered thing. But I said, especially this transition out of, all we're sitting is at home in webinars and Zoom meetings and virtual conferences. That, that's a thing that everybody misses,
Yeah, I think the natural interest for students to want to join the community is very strong, and I think it's, like Sandra said, it's probably just a reminder that's necessary, because I've got 2 students who I'm sure are not members of the MSA, and I feel terrible now, but to be honest, I just need to have the conversation with them, and I think they'll be right up. I'll sign up straight away.
Yeah, can I suggest, we organize the membership in the different level, just like other society, so starting from an associate membership in membership and a fellow or something like that. And then student may see they have to work for that, right? Not just for, not just, pay for that. So I guess, that's kind of encouragement for the student or for the other, potential members.
That might come, I don't, given our numbers are not huge, I think that, that stratification may not be, a strong of a driver. I was wondering whether in terms of efficiency, let's say if I look at saying, well, I'll just pay for a corporate membership and have whatever number of people, I can just grab everybody in one batch and forget about it for the next, that may be an easier thing to say, well, we'll just fork out a couple $100 and I'll get all my researchers automatically signed up. Maybe a batch
kind of group membership.
Yeah, well, group membership, that would be then say, well,
yeah,
we automatically sign you up, and that would save us individually chasing students and researchers or postdocs or whatever.
I think that's a great idea, the group membership. That's great.
Hi, this is Faisal. I just wanted to add one point. When Stefan showed the number of members, it shows that the number of student membership has remained steady compared to the last year. However, it's the non-student members which have reduced significantly in 2020 compared to 2019. So I think that's another thing that we need to have a look at. Now, as some of the senior members have already mentioned, sometimes we just forget to renew our membership, let alone, tell our students to renew their membership. So I think that reminder will be very good in terms of, reminding all the researchers. But we also need to see if it's possible, we need to have a look at the breakdown of the members and see who are missing out. Are the ECers not interested to join, or the senior members who are forgetting to renew their membership? So I think a look at the breakdown of the membership would be good.
Okay, so I fully understand there are a lot of issues we have to discuss today, but regarding this engaging with the industry and members, so we will focus on how we can improve the membership from industry and then students. And we need to also discuss some other important key points. We have 2 more topics today. So we have to allocate, each one is 15 minutes. So if you agree, so we can move to some other topic, which is our value proposition of the MSA. So we can distribute our discussion together. So we'll summarize after this meeting. So if you have anything to improve how to make more value to our members, which is relevant to what we discussed for the industry and then our members engagement. So how we can give members value proposition. So can you please discuss about these topics? So some of people, they mention about MSA history book. So we have experience from the IMSTEC conference 1986. Also we have MEMTEC industry and Evoqua, now DuPont. So we have a lot of in membrane related to industry and academics from UNSW, UNESCO Membrane Center, also Monash Membrane Center. So how we can prepare history book for last almost 40 years experience of the membrane in Australia. So whether this can give value to the members. Do you have any suggestion whether we can prepare one book for the MSA membrane book for last 40 years?
Was there a proposition to the MSA to collate or collect a whole bunch of historical information? Was it Michel Lefebvre?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Michel
that's
Lefebvre. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think in December or at the end of November came through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was mentioning that one before because Professor Drioli was also doing similar thing in Europe, and he's doing some kind of a history book. And then why not do similar thing as well here in Australia that we have so much history as well.
I think that'd be a great thing. I think it's to be a...
Really happy. I'd be very happy to get involved in that in terms of fact checking and adding information. I'm not sure I want to take the major role. I don't know. Has anybody volunteered to take on this major role?
I think Tony, one of the directors will volunteer the main activity. So if you can help, that would be great. So we will, yeah.
I'm sure Hans and I have got our memories of history and how things evolved, from when.
Sure, and photographs and so on to illustrate things. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, just as a sort of a thought bubble, the scenario when I joined at UNSW, I mean, the CSIRO actually had quite a lot of activity in membranes. They had the dairy research group was quite active already by then. So, we need to think back to those sort of bits of information and try and bring those into the story. And Hans might also remember there was Dr. Alan Jones, not the Alan Jones of radio, Dr. Alan Jones, who wrote his little red book, and this was very influential, actually. He was in the Department of Industry or something like that. He wrote that in the early 80s, and it was about the same time that Memtech formed. And I think Alan Jones' book really helped Memtech in the sense that there was a momentum built up. There was a bit of interest from industry, from government, interest from government, because he was a government person and had prepared this book. I don't think I've got a copy of that book, but I'm sure there's a copy.
I don't have it. I might have.
Yeah, the little red book.
Yes.
Well, that was quite fascinating. And of course, we should look at the very first IMTech, not IMSTech, IMTech, and some work by a guy called Russell Smith. Russell was CSIRO, desalination. He was, I don't know which division he was in, but he's now unfortunately passed away. But Russell was involved in some of the very early meetings of desalination. He knew Miriam Balaban, when she was a girl, sort of thing, and when she ran her first meeting. So, and I know that Russell wrote a paper for the first IMTech, looking at membranes in Australia, So we do have that stuff around. Greg Leslie has got some archival stuff at UNESCO Centre. I'm not sure how far back it goes, but I think he did have a guy working on this membrane archival material. So
yes, I think he had a large number of documents scanned.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
No,
so we all, there was a large amount scanned, and I think I gave him a lot of the old booklets, things like that. And I
yes,
think
so, I
he
mean,
was trying to
yeah,
get everything scanned.
we can actually mine, you know, if we're talking about history, we can mine this stuff,
Yeah.
you know. It's a matter of who's prepared to get the shovel and start digging. Yeah.
Or,
It's a good idea. It's a good, because it does show.
or make a call for material.
Yes.
Yeah, but it does show, I guess, how a whole technology evolved within a country, you know, within Australia. And I think we're very fortunate to have Memtech having started, you know, and having our own sort of local membrane company that's now become part of, you know, the global activity.
Yeah, it's a great story. Like all the, there's some great little stories all through that, you know, all through that tapestry, really, you know.
I mean, Jeff, I don't know whether there's a cupboard somewhere at out at Windsor that's got some of the old documents. There probably is.
Yeah, there definitely is.
It'd be good to have that story documented. But I've heard different accounts. I don't know if it's one story that everyone can agree on.
Well, yeah, there's a very good point. You know, there are facts and there are alternative facts, and even that story in itself is quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll mention, Sean, just in terms of the formation of the MSA, I'm happy to be involved in that. Just where the MSA, the starting point of the MSA part. If that's the topic of the book, was it the select history of membranes and MSA, right?
Yes, yeah, that's true. This is the very similar what we are trying to create. So this is the title of the Flows of Science. So they mention about the history of their some activity of research from 1992 to 2017. Which almost
this is EWAG in Switzerland, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. So, but also is from the University of Melbourne. He's from University of Melbourne historian. So he just summarized what they did research, especially the urine separation. So this is the only 100 pages. It's a very easy to follow, and then very summarized in terms of the timing, and then just a lot of photos, and then breakthrough of the different people. So Tony Penn will be here, and then some of people as poster. A lot of people. Yeah, we can make more about the very easy to follow, and then relate to some photo. So this will give a good starting point of our members. So if you know, we are looking for editor or authors. So this also, if you see,
so I think what Tony's saying is, you know, that could be, you know, the first chapters, and, you know, just take it step by step, chapter by chapter, as I guess they're chapters in Australia's membrane history, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Happy to be involved in this project.
Yes, so we need to, yes, of course, our director, one of them will be leading the project, this kind of activity. But definitely, we need the support from professional like authors or writer or historian or curator. So if you know anybody, that would be great. We can engage, and then because we have some funding to support this kind of initiative. So that's the activity we can discuss about some value proposition to the members. So we need the information from Tony, from Hans Koster, also Michelle, also some of our senior membrane first generation professors and industry people. So this is the good timing we can revisit our history.
Have to involve Chris Fell, of course.
Yes, definitely. So we can put into our action item. So we will discuss follow some more. How about other value proposition? Federico, can you share your Jamboard again? So do you have any other improvement we can try to implement for this member propositions?
I guess, can I add quickly that we do quite well for creating values and benefits for students and ECRs as a society. And, we can list out quite a lot of what benefits that it provides to them. And I guess the point here that I hear from everyone is that we just got to sell it in the right light at the right time. And we've got to have a package or brochure for student or ECR so that the supervisors or for senior academics, they can just dish it out to their new students and show them that the values of MSA to them is that, we do very well in networking, providing educational seminars, celebrating awards, so that's kind of where they are at the stage of research where they need to be recognized for, yearly we dish out MSA awards to the students and also the travel awards for the students and conference awards. And also, we provide possible, job opportunities. So, these are really important for the students when they embark on their PhD. So if we can come up with a very small, brochure or package for the students, when they commence their study, the supervisors can just forward on this information to the students and get them start thinking about this, values front and center. And by joining the MSA right at the start for 3 years, this is all the benefit they're going to get out of it.
I think, David, it's a great idea. And I would add that we could also use this for marketing purposes. Like if you want to start distributing it to, new students in WA, Northern Territory, so like in places where we don't really have a strong reach. And we can show, if you can show like a strong return of investment for this $25 and make it like a no-brainer, like, invest $25, but then you get back X many from conferences, you get networking and all sort of stuff, then it'll probably become very easy to, let's say, for lack of a better word, like to sell the membership to students all across Australia and New Zealand.
Yes, I agree. I think because we had a brochure, but in the past, we just have one which is like, say, towards individual membership. Not, I think it is a very good idea. Actually, have specific design brochure targeting for students and just telling them what would be the value, what would be the benefit to joining as an MSA member.
And I guess, if our student membership is not growing on a yearly basis, then we're in trouble because we have new intakes of students every year. And we always trying to attract new students to our own research groups. And if our student numbers, membership number stays flatline across the year, it means we're not doing, very well in getting them involved and being members. And I guess, there's always, like Michael mentioned, there's always a point that students feel that they don't want to pay out of their own expenses. But if we let them know that there are myriads of benefits that they can, extract out of being a members, then, Frederico mentioned it's no brainer to join,
Yep, good point.
And I guess corporate memberships, it's much more financially feasible to join as a group in a group corporate membership. And again, we got to make sure we sell it the right light, have the right value proposition. And as soon as we set up things like, I feel that if we have a research profiling on our website, where they can tap into the experts in Australia or even global experts, and even that we are very aware of what the current industry challenges are and how we can bring a group of experts together to discuss and have a forum to deal with some of these challenging issues, and how that can then forward and progress into actions for the industry. That's a very, I guess, in my view, very important value proposition for the industry people.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep, it's good.
Also, yeah, we have another topic we have to cover today. So if you have any other comments, so we can go for the last topic on communication with our members. So we have a webinar, and then we have also social media, and then also we need to engage more geographically together with the Queensland area and the Western Australia, New Zealand. So mainly the New South Wales and the Victoria, we are the main player at this moment. So how we can try to work with the other states, then new people. So that's our current issue we have to discuss. How about Vicky? Do you have already you have experience UNSW, and then now you are UQ? So we need more UQ membrane people there. So how we can attract more people from your faculty and your university?
Oh, yeah. So it's been quite interesting because UQ's got a long-standing history in membranes with Joe DaCosta and actually the whole nanomaterials people here. But I think we kind of when I arrived here, suddenly and Simon's smart, but Simon's and a number of us have actually diversified, with other things. Beyond membranes. So I think it's really trying to figure out who is the membrane community here. As I said, the water, there is, quite a lot of water people, but, I'm, one of the things I might need to, as I said, I recently attended the AWA, their meeting in Queensland, and I said, it's a very strong, very, very strong community, but I don't have a feel for how many, and I'm sure there are membrane people, industry membrane people in Queensland, but I suspect in the last few years there hasn't been a lot of visibility of very focused membrane activity up here in the water space. It's been in the other parts of the water space. So I think I might talk to our advanced water management people to say, who are the water membrane people that perhaps we, they can give us names to reach out to on the industry side. And they're very, very well connected to utility side. From the academic side, I said it's probably having to another look at the new generation of people. There's certainly work done here. Just looking at a proposal, people looking more like on the electrochemical conversion area. It's more on the catalysis type membrane area. So it's more focused in that direction rather than I would say probably my older past work, which is on the in the water separation side. So there is people working on it, but they probably don't identify themselves as membrane people specifically, and they probably haven't been in the community in the past. Unlike I think like the Joe and Simon, who've been quite involved in other in that group, which have been very embedded in the IMSTECs and the MSA in the past. So I have a very small group here. People ask me, "Are you restarting the membrane group at UQ?" And I was like, "Well, I've got a day job." But we are working, and my colleague Jingwei and other people are working. But we are still working on membranes.
Yeah, and Vicky, just to add, I mean, I think they operate membranes at the dairy plant at the Parmalat factory, isn't it? In South Bank. There's a membrane.
The agri-food, I'm sure there are people who are in the membrane side, but as I said, they probably haven't identified with that community in the past. Or, you know, I remember working, this is decades ago, you know, the sugar research people, the Department of Primary Industries here in Queensland is very strong, but I have not seen, you know, their presence in the last N years. They haven't engaged in the membrane community, I think. So unless some of you, I don't know, David, you.
Yeah. I was going to jump in just when I was saying Michael and I were both trained as postdocs in FimLab, and FimLab is still a brand, a membrane laboratory at UQ. And I know that there are a couple of people, postdocs or even senior research fellows working in FimLab, along with a few PhD students. And I feel that ever since Joe left and that Simon's moved on to a different role, that the group hasn't really get themselves engaged with the other communities or increasing their visibilities or exposure much. You almost feel that there is a significant drop in its actual outreach sort of activity.
Yeah, in fact, I'm inheriting that lab. I have inherited that, that lab because as Simon's activities moved, he's got other interests, although he still is doing some, but predominantly it's my team now using parts of the FimLab, and we're trying to grow it, but mainly Jingwei is driving that, but we are sort of half membranes and half nanomaterials, and a lot of the work we're doing on moss and perovskites now, and it moving even more into the catalytic membrane sort of areas, which is so it is but that engagement, sort of when I arrived, it's clearly had waned, and probably I just need to go in and push.
And I don't think we've actually got Queensland MSA members at the moment.
You guys are awesome. About that. You haven't changed me to. But now we are now having trying to get PhD students, and I've got a couple postdocs and things like that. But so half my group was still at UNSW and until probably this year, and starting a small one at UQ. But it is, as I said, that lab was fantastic, and I've been actually fortunate. I've been being able to inherit that real estate. We are going to move into the new Liberis building in the middle of next year, so completely new labs. They will reset up I think the equivalency there, but we'll have to. So hopefully that will restart. But I'm happy to go and maybe just take another tour, say who's actually working on membranes, and getting them engaged in.
Maybe I know actually previously there's one group in advanced membrane, advanced water management center, Wolfgang, but he left a few years ago, and actually their research grant is mainly from water industry. They use reverse osmosis membrane, nanofiltration, ultrafiltration. They just test the performance. But they attract a large amount of funding from water utility.
Oh yeah, no, they have fantastic utility. So they're very strong on the applications.
But they never named there as a member researcher. You just said, oh, they are working on water.
Yeah, so
Treatment.
they identify themselves more as, you know, water people,
Yeah.
and in fact
Yeah.
more on environmental biotechnology. And
Yeah.
they had approached me about potentially collaborating on
Yeah.
their DPs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to. So they do have some memory, but they don't identify themselves
Yeah.
as membrane people. They
Yeah.
identify themselves as water people.
Yeah.
And that may be a conversation I should have with Big Bob.
Yeah.
Because he probably can point to me about who is working on membranes, but perhaps
Yeah.
they don't identify themselves
Yeah.
in the membrane community, which is an interesting dynamics.
Could I just suggest that we let Felicia make a comment about New Zealand and how membership is going in New Zealand? Because I was there now over 12 months ago, but when I was there, I had a feeling that the New Zealand group or activity is quite strong.
Yeah, there are not many membrane people in New Zealand. As far as I know, it's a Ken Morrison group, which is Ken Morrison from Canterbury. So he's working on the dairy.
Yeah.
And then there is a relatively new stuff coming. Matthew Cohen, also from Canterbury University, is working on the gas separation. And there is a group at Massey University working on the membrane distillation and MOF, I think. Apart from that, as well as my group in Auckland. And there is one academic staff working on polymer, but kind of like he's not working purely on membrane anymore from my university.
Would it help, I wonder, if, you know, because I remember being in when MSA, you know, to have an IMSTEC in New Zealand or Brisbane. Maybe Brisbane's an easier proposition, but that might help to bring the community together by putting the IMSTEC there.
For the next one?
Well, yeah, no, so yeah, not next year's obviously, but a future one is put forward. It sort of felt like at the time it probably could be a leap of faith, in the sense that, you know, if it's away from the usual sort of East Coast or even Adelaide region, you know, there could be a penalty, but maybe the community, the critical mass is there now that it could be successful.
It could be a good draw card for a number of other international people, actually.
Yeah,
people
definitely.
Like to go to New Zealand.
I think that would be very favourable. And it sounds like from what you said, Felicia, there's actually, you said not many, but then you mentioned quite a few names. So it sounds quite strong.
The team is quite small, actually. Yeah, maybe just around, I would say around 5 people, plus the student.
Plus their students, yeah.
Yeah, plus the student, probably around, in total, probably 10, I don't know. Yeah.
And so far, Felicia, are they they're members now or not yet? Only you, right?
I think Ken Morrison is a member, and then me, and then my student, one of my students, and then I think one from the industry in New Zealand. But there's, as far as I know, if I'm not wrong, it's only 4 from New Zealand. But I think membership, the board from membership, in terms of membership, may have a better idea.
So how we can help you to increase the number of members in New Zealand, Felicia?
I can encourage more of my students to join.
Yeah.
Well, Felicia, you know, I was there, was it now over 12 months when you had your meeting, but, you know, it wasn't all membranes, but there was quite a lot of membrane activity or interest, put it that way, in the group of people that attended that meeting. And I felt there was sort of, you know, there was a critical mass of people.
Yes, I have actually passed some of the contact to Zhongli, and I think they've been contacted so far. I'm not too sure, but so far we haven't got a response, right? I'll try again. Yeah.
I mean, there was that group. I can't remember. They were from a company there. wanting
Fonterra?
what to do with their old modules, and that
Fonterra. Yeah.
Fonterra, I think.
Fonterra.
in contact with Pierre Leclerc, and
Yeah.
there are interesting connections, interconnections, and I'm on a separate panel for a company based in Singapore, and they were looking to fund a company that's into, I think, handling brine, reducing brine costs and so on. And that's a company. Wouldn't say it was a membrane company, but what it was doing was very related to
Water related.
Yes, water related. But they were actually using membranes in their process as well. But yeah.
Isn't part of the issue here showing that value proposition to New Zealand because they feel like it's more difficult to access some of our events? And while we're in talking about online events, isn't that an opportunity to perhaps have some sessions or some webinars involving New Zealand researchers so they feel they're being recognised or, that they're relevant? So having, a symposium or webinar that's completely online, but engages with some of the New Zealand researchers.
Good idea.
I think that's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. We can invite maybe some of them.
I remember Sandra, you had a message of smart membrane in New Zealand, right? Smart membranes.
Felicia might know more about it than I do. I know, again, Fonterra do a lot of dairy-related membrane work, but they tend to not engage with outside as far as I know, with that many university researchers, other than Ken Morrison. But
I think I know what John's talking about. Smart Membranes is a company whose services basically most of the dairy factories in New Zealand and in Australia even.
Yeah,
I know the CEO. I mean, I don't know. It's again showing our value proposition to companies like that and whether they see the value there.
I remember a talk from, I thought it was at the Deakin Student Symposium. I thought it was someone based in New Zealand. They definitely were presenting their work in New Zealand in dairy, like one of the consulting, like a company,
that's
the major
that's
company.
The Melbourne Uni one. That's the Melbourne Uni one, Michael. Yeah, I invited that guy to come and give a talk.
Membrane, right?
Okay, it wasn't New Zealand based, but did work in New Zealand, was it?
Yes,
okay, all right.
They were trying to set up. Sorry, they were trying to set up an operation in Melbourne, but I don't know how.
It was a good talk. Good talk, George. good contact.
In 2014, at this year's symposium at Deakin, we had definitely someone from New Zealand, from a company, but I don't remember the name from the top of my head right now, honestly. Maybe the same company that actually George invited in 2019.
Yeah, they definitely.
Sure I should ask Lula for that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that might be just an example of how there's not the big companies, but the smaller companies, the consultants who are specializing in membranes and work with many companies probably be very willing to talk.
Yeah, maybe. I can think of one or two in Melbourne already, but yeah, let's see.
Well, they'd definitely be happy to travel to New Zealand if they're doing work in New Zealand. I don't know about not straight away, maybe. I don't know if they've lifted the 14-day quarantine coming back.
All right, so now we are almost 3 minutes to 1 p.m. So if you agree, we can finalize.
Sean? Just one comment that I think has been highlighted here. I'm just mentioning it because the only one that has been highlighted more, which is appoint a representative for each state to manage memberships. Whether, I don't know, what's the feeling about this, having a representative of each state in Australia to manage the memberships?
That's a good idea. So we can give them more, get close to engage with their own people in their states, right?
Yeah.
It should be no problem.
I don't know if we would have it as a person managing the memberships in terms of having access to all the back end data, but I definitely think it's a good person having a nominated representative for the state to kind of help coordinate involvement or local events. I think that's a really good idea.
someone who can probably know better than us what the local market is and where the member groups really are.
Yep.
And I like the idea that Vicky had before running local events. And I mean, what I can think of now is that maybe, you know, the representative or the other person could organize events like 3 minutes visits or something, just also to, you know, we can have senior academics to be the judges, and students will get engaged and they will get awards and things like that. So that might promote people to actually, you know, participate in MSA events locally even. So, I mean, we have enough students, I'm sure, in Victoria and in New South Wales to run those events. Yes. We need to.
I guess you can also have, like a watching party or something like that, where if there is a big distinguished lecturer and we are streaming it, you have a local site where there's networking afterwards or something like that. And that way the local community is engaged and the content is created essentially.
I believe this is one of the reasons why AWA is so successful. They have a lot of local events. Yeah.
Well, they're a much bigger community, though. So
yeah,
and you know, we in a sense are just a small part of the overall water community, for example. We get into other things, but you know, AWA is a very big thing in Australia in terms of, you know, water as a challenge for the nation. You know.
Yeah.
So no, there's no competition here.
Yeah, they're so big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One more suggestion, Sean, and everyone, regarding, you know, the engagement. Currently, you know, we are discuss how we, you know, to do better and promote of us. You know, this idea is from us. I think we might need to have some kind of advisory committee who are not actually in the membrane field and give us some fresh idea. Particularly, you know, we can target some people in the field where we are trying to engage, particularly our member end user, like the water industry, dairy industry, whether we can invite some, you know, senior people to have MSA advisory committee, and maybe we can ask them such question: how, you know, to promote MSA, how MSA effectively engaged with other community.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
We can have a more senior people involved in our MSA for decision-making procedure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I guess one of the ways. Oh, sorry, Jeffrey.
I'd just like to second that suggestion. Yep.
But I guess one of the ways to then tap into that is that we could think about how we piggyback and align ourselves with like Chemica, and when they run conferences, because they have a lot of different disciplines that then in chemical engineering that then come together and network, and it's a good opportunity for us to, you know, get our brand out there in the different discipline. And I think that in 2019, when the Chemica was ran in Sydney, that I was in charge of the technical committee for the water and wastewater treatment, and I invited almost all of the session speakers from MSA. So that was a way for us to engage and reach out to the other disciplines that may perhaps have used membranes in the past, and that get ourselves exposed in a much wider community.
Yes, that's true. I was one of the speakers. But looks like even Chemica, they are organized by Engineer Australia. So they have a full authority to decide every engagement, right? Because when I register, registration fee and everything goes through the Engineer Australia, all the program, right? So looks like we have to directly contact Engineer Australia, if we want to collaborate with the chemical, right?
No, not really. I mean, it's a joint arranged between Engineers Australia and IChemE and RACI. So it's all three organisations, Sean, and you can be
together.
three. But they haven't. It moves from state to state, and so whoever has it for the state sets up their own organising committee, and they're probably the people you need to be talking to. And so I can find out for you where it's going to be next year if you want me to follow that up. But yeah.
All right. So yeah, we have to think about which organization is the best we need to contact, right?
Well, I think the best would be to contact the organising committee for who's running it in the state. But I mean, we can easily contact the IChemE representative in Australia, who I can picture, his name escapes me. Somebody else will tell me his name. Anyway, Peter Slane. Sorry, we could easily talk to Peter Slane from IChemE.
All right. Okay, thank you, Sandra. So we have a last item for the summary of this meeting. So, Pan, can you please give a little bit of a summary of today's discussion? Stefan, can you hear us?
Sorry, I was just managing the noise in the background. No worries. So it sounds like everyone's kind of come together around a few key issues. We had identified, and the survey kind of identified, that engagement is definitely a key one, and how we deliver that is quite important. There were some really good ideas around how we structure coordinated or collaboration with other events or organizations. I think that was really valuable. Some of the other things to think about were that value proposition and improving that to try and build critical mass, but also then making sure that community aspect of it is visible and accessible to our members. And I think that's a real insightful area for us to work on. Looking at some of the slides, I think coordinating local representatives, I think, is a really good idea to try and build that geographic representation. From Vicky's comments, it's quite clear, and from Felicia's as well, most of the board don't know who's out there. So having local representatives is going to be really valuable there. And then, yeah, with industry, it's very much that we do have some competition, or people who think that we might be competition. And so having a clear strategy for how and who we want to engage, and bringing them in and kind of becoming more visible to them, I think has been identified as some really good ways forward. So yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming along and contributing. There's been some really good ideas. Yeah.
Okay. So this is for today. We have a lot of items to follow up. So we will summarize all the discussion points. So action items. So we will also asking for your volunteer, because we need your help for advisory committee like Tony Fan, Hans Koster, also Michelle, or some of the senior people can be involved. This regular meeting we can organize, so we can follow up some main items such as membership engagement, industry engagement, also member value proposition. And also we will try to allocate all the responsibility to follow up all the necessary item for the history book, also representative of each state, and then some of the student membership, how we can attract much better position to attract our student membership. So there are many things we will try to articulate in an Excel file, and then we will distribute again. So if you just give us some more comment before we finalize for 2021 strategies, so that we can easily catch up with what's we have to improve, and then how we can implement our action item. So every director will be a project-based activity from this discussion, and we need your support to deliver these strategies. So thank you, everybody. Before we close, do you have anything to say? Something?
Sean, I think we could take a Zoom picture
Right.
of all of us.
That's a very important group photo.
Yeah, group photo.
You're right. So
Do we all
can...
sing at the same time?
I think Faisal did that right at the start, didn't he? To capture everyone.
I did, and it has already been tweeted. And
that's right.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, actually, I saw that the Twitter notification has, or the LinkedIn, was it?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've got. Yeah.
So everybody can turn on your video camera, please. Felicia, Jeff, Guang, Huan Ting Wang, Sandra. Your camera is on.
Yeah, everybody's except for Stefan and Guang Yang.
Stefan and Guang.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
So who's taking the photo? Federico?
So Federico, ready?
Oh, wait a second. Wait, no, I wasn't ready. 1 second.
Well, I have already taken the photo, so it's fine.
All right.
Yeah, the one you posted, because it also included Vicky when she was in the meeting.
And I have taken this one as well. So yeah, but we have already posted the one where Vicky is also in. So
yeah, fantastic, Faisal. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Sean,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sean. Thanks, MSA.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Hans.
Thank you, Hans. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will keep in touch. Thank you, Federico. Well done.
Thanks, Sean.
So everything was okay, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's a lot of very interesting comments. I think now it's maybe over the next week or so, it's summarize the main comments and probably come up with some actionable items that we can put forward to the members. So it looks like definitely the MSA history book, that's something people are very keen on doing, and there's a lot of value in it. So that's a big deliverable item that we should focus on, and as well as a brochure with some sort of return on investment analysis for students to join in, and maybe for industry that then we can use in our marketing and sales campaign. That's another important item to follow up, and then obviously the engagement, let's say micro engagement, so engagement at a state level, at city level, as well as national level. That's another important one. So we'll try to come up with some actionable items that we can distribute towards the to the board and have it as deliverable.
Okay, so that's a good idea. If you agree, maybe next maybe Monday or Tuesday, we do better send our slide together with the PDF file already. I just downloaded here from your Jamboard. So just as it is. Yep. You have a slide, right? So make a PDF file.
Yep.
And then you can also this Jamboard discussion point. Yeah. And we can send it to them. Okay, this is what we have discussed. So if you have anything to add, please feel free to contact you and me or Stefan Lennart, and then you can tell them we will summarize this one and then make some good kind of action items to follow up.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then maybe after 1 or 2 weeks, we can update again some Excel file, and then who would be we need looking for volunteer. So after 1 or 2 weeks later, who is looking for volunteer? So first responsibility should be director. So let's say history book. So it has to be a guy from our director, and then work with maybe Tony Fan, work with some other people. So first we can ask director, okay, this is the project-based follow-up. Who want to do this one? Who want to do this one?
Yep.
And then we can send it to everybody, whether they want to add some more, any volunteer, and we can keep following up these action items, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yes,
I think that's a good idea. I think on top of sending the slides and the Jamboard, I also want to distill a little bit the main information on the bullet points, because yeah, Jamboard, there's a lot of things that have been repeated. So I'll run it by you, and yeah, maybe Monday or Tuesday next week to get it out to everyone and get their feedback, and then from that we create some actionable items, and then we'll distribute it to, and then we seek for volunteers, as you said, to execute.
That's great. That's great.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Federico.
Have a nice weekend.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.